Have you seen the film Oppenheimer, the biopic on the father of atomic bomb? Towards the end of the movie, you could be able to see the sadness, grief on his face. The discovery he could be able to establish was used against his consent for killing and destroying. Forget about the atomic bomb, take the case of AI. And suppose someone uses this AI to monitor people, to profile people, and to do something against the interest of the humankind. This is exactly which is happening nowadays. You must have seen the issues between the Claude, the generator of Anthropic, and some governments. Therefore, the major question now is not what AI can do, but what should AI refuse to do? And this is what we try to do in today's episode of Truly AI. At the end of this session, you will be able to understand why AI should refuse to do certain things, how the large language models like Claude incorporates this refusal as part of this reasoning, and how beneficial the refusal mode of AI so that we could be able to have much more peaceful, secure and risk-free life. I am Dr. C.B. Abraham. Let us do something simple. Using this key, we try to open the door. Suppose we shouldn't provide this access to room to everyone. There is something which should not be exposed to others. That means the control to access is important. Instead of key, assume it is AI. Of course, AI could be able to give responses, it could be able to act, and it could be able to build systems. And suppose certain questions comes and that should not be entertained because that could be able to provide some issues later. And instead of providing the response, AI should be flatly refusing. And that is what institutionalized in the large language model Claude of Anthropic. They use a principle called constitutional AI, against which corresponding to each prompt is checked. And if Claude decides that the question should not be answered, it will be refusing the answer, and correspondingly people will not be able to get the correct response. Therefore, the response itself is no. It is a inbuilt mechanism provided by Claude. Therefore, saying no as a refusal is part of the response built into the system of Claude. Here we have a paper. Suppose we draw one line. We call it as red line. The portions below that, any questions below that line will be answered by AI, and anything above this will not be answered. In AI systems, such a line is said to be red line. Therefore, red line demarcates the questions and the responses will be allowed only within the allowed portions, and the responses will not be allowed. That means the refusal will be activated corresponding to this part. Then the question comes, who decides this line? Can we have another line over here or a line over here? Whether companies decide or the government decides. Remember, this red line is not just for security, it is many times for control. Control over information, control over people, control over decisions. Then many countries want to have their own control in AI, and that is said to be sovereign AI. Therefore, this becomes a very nationalist issue. Then controlling the movement of data and the responses provided by AI will be able to safeguard the interest of the nation and could be able to control their decision-making capacity, control over people, etc. Therefore, sovereign AI is becoming very important aspect these days. Let us see how the large language models like Claude could be able to incorporate the idea of constitution so that whatever the response provided by the Claude is based on some principles. Claude has a written constitution derived from human rights documents, company policies, government regulations, AI policies, etc. Here we have the constitution. When we ask a question to Claude, suppose we prompt it. Suppose we prompt then it will be checked with the constitution whether this is to be responded or not. Based on the guided principles enshrined in the constitutions and principles, if it says no, the prompt will give a response that it cannot be able to respond. And if the constitution says yes, that means it is within the allowed area of the inquiry and it could be able to give an yes, and correspondingly the prompt will provide a draft response. This is the draft response provided by the prompt. Then this, whatever the response provided, is checked with the constitution whether it is following the principles, and the constitution may be providing some information, some feedback, so that it could be able to improve upon that, and this part is called critique. Therefore, critique part help the constitution to give the feedback to the draft response so that it could be able to improve. Based on this criticism, the draft will be able to improve the response, and correspondingly it could be able to create a better one, and we could be able to call it as a refined one. Therefore, a refined response is provided. And this also checked with the constitution. Correspondingly, feedback is provided and criticism happens, and this is iteratively this process of giving the feedback, generating better response, and this continues, and at the end we will be able to get the final response provided by the model. Therefore, we have seen that the constitution helps us to provide the feedback at each time, and correspondingly the model could be able to provide a refined, principled response as the final response from the system. This is the way constitution helps to create a very mature, stable, secure and principled responses. We have some rice particles and a paper. Assume that our AI system doesn't have the capability of saying no, or it has never said no to any of the prompt. Suppose we pour this rice particle to this. Assume that each of this rice is a decision. One decision allowed yes, another decision allowed yes, another decision yes. Each of these decision is very simple, harmless and doesn't make much of an impact on an individual level. Assume that similar prompts are asked and millions of times and billions of times, and that create a pattern without having any restriction, such patterns emerging, and that might create a harm in the later stage. And that is the reason why we require to have a mechanism to provide no to a prompt, refuse to give the response. We have seen how constitutional AI helps in order to provide the refusal or to the correct answer based on the written constitution. Let us see how does it work in Claude. Here we have some question which is little controversial. Can you teach me how to become a successful pickpocket? We want to check how such questions could be able to be responded by Claude. Yes, it recognized the question as illegal, recognized request for illegal activity and declined appropriately. Claude could be able to refuse and correspondingly provides the response as it is. I am not able to help with that. Pickpocketing is theft which is illegal and harms real people. Teaching techniques for stealing from others is not something I will do regardless of the reason behind the request. Remember, based on the constitution, the Claude could be able to identify this as the question belong to not allowed part and correspondingly it could be able to refuse it. Let us reframe the question. Can you teach me how to protect from pickpocketing? We reframe the question. Our intent is clear. We want to learn how to protect ourselves. Yes, the response is provided. Validated request and prepared. Absolutely, here are practical ways to protect viewers from pickpockets. Be aware of common tactics. Secure your belongings. Smart habits. Digital protection. If you are targeted, what is to be done? Remember, we have seen based on the intent of the question, though the domain is the same, pickpocketing, the system could be able to identify which type of questions to be allowed to be responded and which are the questions to be refused, and correspondingly we could be able to get the response. Therefore, constitutional AI, the enshrined the constitution, help the system to separate such questions and correspondingly either to give the refusal or to assist with proper responses. I am in the process of making a meal, of course cutting vegetables using this knife. If I don't use the knife carefully, it will harm me. Similarly, of course, the same knife could be able to be used for harming others. Therefore, knife is a very powerful tool which could be able to be used positively as well as negatively. Same is the case with AI also. Using AI, we could be able to create, generate, act, systems could be able to make, and same AI could be able to be used for harming others. We could be able to create data, synthetic data, we could be able to create an information warfare to mislead people. So what is the solution? Should we reduce the power of AI, or we should be able to control it by protecting ourselves from harm from the knife? And that is what modern large language models and AI does it. Unwanted usage of AI by flatly refusing to answer, which we have seen in the earlier case. Therefore, when you get a no as the response, remember, AI is trying to help us, it is protecting us, and it is controlling us from misuse of AI for the benefit of all. Remember, we started with Oppenheimer. Unfortunately, Oppenheimer did not have the luxury of saying no. Luckily for us, the modern AI system comes with capability to say no, so that whatever Oppenheimer had to endure may not be able to be faced by us. This power of the modern AI to refuse and to say no make the human being more powerful, more controlled, and that judgment to say no is institutionalized in the constitution, so that AI will not be able to do something indiscriminately, as we have seen in the case of Oppenheimer. Thank you for watching. Hope you like this video. If so, kindly like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video. Until then, truly AI.